Howdy doody. All right, so you've probably heard the term hustle culture. I've heard it a lot. There's a lot of people out there that actually kind of make a living off of telling you to work harder. Those people aren't always working that hard themselves, which is really ironic. But there's too much with the hustling stuff. There's too much with the, hey, you should be more ambitious, you should work hard, hustle, 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 whatever. It's kind of annoying because, I mean, the thing is, like, okay, I was born with a little bit of drive, I think. And then something in me, whether it's environmental or not, has always pushed me to just do more, 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 more. It's not about money. It's not about other people's approval of me. I don't know what it is. I feel like I have to fucking be always productive or I have no value. Which, I mean, you could argue is true. Like, you could argue that a person has to be productive or what are they doing? And you're not really wrong. I mean, productive can be a lot of different things. You could be productive at raising children and you could be working really hard at raising children, and that is really important. But what's not really important is selling the most cars at the dealership you work at, or making the most money in your town at the career you're in, or selling the most houses if you're a realtor, or having the most side hustles. Almost everybody I know that is constantly talking about hustling is actually pretty lazy. And when they're talking to you about how much you need to hustle, they're really just telling themselves to hustle because they want to make money. Like, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money. I'm not at all saying don't work hard either. I think working hard is very admirable. I'm not good with words. Very admirable thing. But the idea that everybody should constantly be working on something new and improving and hustling and have 15 different things going at once is not good. I mean, I'm here doing a podcast right now. My kids, one of them is doing a state test for school. The others are with their mom in the car or at a park nearby waiting for the test to get done. I thought it was a good opportunity, like, rather than sit in the car and go eat Chick-fil-A, maybe I can record some podcasts. That's kind of how I work my schedule on these things, because there's never a good time to do these. And podcasting is the last on my list of things. It's like tattooing and stand-up comedy are tied for first as far as, like, non-family related things that I need to do all the time. I love stand-up. I love tattooing. I am pursuing a career in stand-up, and I have a career in tattooing that I need to keep, and they're both fun. But there was a time where I actually thought I wasn't a good business owner if I didn't work at least twice as much as everybody that worked there, which was hard to do when they're working 40 hours a week. And there was a time where I thought that I wasn't being a good parent if I didn't make, I'm not going to say the exact number, but there was a really high number per week, per month, per year. I had numbers I had to reach, or I felt like a failure. And I'm making way less money now, and I feel more successful than ever. Like, I have a better relationship with my kids right now, or at least I think I do, than I did when they were really little. And when they were really little, it was simple. All you had to do was come home and have fun with them. But if I worked less, I would have seen them more, and that would be nice. Now I work 3 or 4 days a week. I do stand-up as much as I can, but not to the point of missing anything. Ever since before my first kid was born, I've always had a commitment to go. I'm not missing a ballet recital or a play or a performance of any sort, unless, you know, she's doing 4 in the weekend and I got a really good opportunity for the last one. I see the first 3 and then I miss one. Things like that. I'll eventually make an exception, but as of right now, my daughter has a play. It's the same play 4 times in a row. I'll go watch all 4. My son, when he was really big into jiu-jitsu, we went to a few tournaments. I'm paying as close attention as I can at every fucking match. My youngest daughter has done theater, gymnastics, a little bit of everything. She's done some different things. She's doing piano now. She's getting pretty good at piano. When she goes and plays a piano recital, I'm there. I know people that think that that is not as important as their job. And I don't think that's their fault. I think that's a societal pressure thing. I think people tell you that, especially as a man, that your job is to earn money and provide. And they're not fully wrong. Like, if you're the one that is designated to make the most money in the house, you're occasionally going to miss some opportunities, and that's a sacrifice you kind of have to make sometimes. I get it. But the idea that, like, I know people that their kid will be in a play and they can't make it because they have work. And then I find out they're in the military and they get off at 3, but they just, like, they need to rest after work and the play's at 5. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I don't understand that. Like, when you have, I need to get this thing done. It's like, dude, you got a fucking job. Your job's working. You don't need to recover from your job for 48 hours. I know a guy that his job's all over the place. He works days and nights, and it kind of rotates. And, I mean, there's probably a year there where he didn't get to see any of his kids' stuff because he had to catch up on sleep. I think sleep's very important. I think once a month, having no sleep for 24 hours is worth it to make sure your kids know you're there to watch them do stuff, whatever the stuff is. I think that the people that, there's like societal differences. I know a guy that has several kids that, I was talking to his wife one time, and she told me about the first time that he was left home alone with the kids. And I was like, y'all already had 5 kids when he was left home alone with like, he had never had one-on-one time with his son? And she was like, no, not where he's from. They don't do that. So he's from a different country. I don't know, because I don't want to get into the like what different countries say and do a thing. I know what country he's from. I have seen this pattern, but I've never talked to anybody about it, so I don't know if it's just their case or if it's a real thing that every man in that country is not supposed to parent but just make money. But good news is that motherfucker makes money. His kids are not missing out on anything as far as money goes. It's hard to find a balance. It's almost impossible to find a balance between being a good parent and making enough money. But if you make enough money that your whole family can eat every day and your bills are paid on time and you get to go on a vacation every now and then, you're doing better than most people. Like, you deserve a fucking pat on the back for figuring out how to spend time with your kids and make just enough to get by and still do a vacation. That's great. That's really all you need to do. My job, I'm really lucky that I say lucky. I worked really hard to make my job what it is, but I'm also really lucky that I was able to find it so young. But my job pays pretty well per hour, and there's no salary, there's no benefits, there's no safety net of any kind. You got to make it all yourself. But the huge upside is if I need a day off, I take a day off. If I want to schedule where I have a whole month off, nobody's going to tell me I can't. If I want to work 35 days in a row, my wife and kids are the only ones that would complain about that. I can do basically whatever I want. And I understand part of that's luck, but a lot of that is applying myself from a very young age and working really hard because I knew that's what I wanted. I wanted freedom among everything. When people say, like, oh man, you're self-employed, you're so lucky. I'm like, yeah, I'm lucky I was born in America. I'm lucky that people around me worked so hard that I got a good work ethic and I figured out what that means. And by the same token, I'm fucking fighting a battle every day to not work my ass off. Like, I have to tell myself to work less every day. My instinct at this point is to work from noon to midnight as a minimum 5 days a week. Minimum, noon to midnight. I used to work till fucking like 3 in the morning a lot. And I'd leave to work at 10 or 11, and I'd get home from work at 3 or 4. And I was fucking dozing off at birthday parties. I was falling asleep behind the wheel on my way home from work. I was sometimes falling asleep on the way to work. Good news is I was excited to be there, and a lot of times my kids could stop by and see me at work, and there were a lot of benefits to it, and I was able to make enough money that I could take my kids to see other states and countries and things at a pretty young age, and I'm happy about all that. But if I could have learned to pace myself earlier, I'd probably have a lot less health problems. Like, I've been working out of some really bad damage I did to my hands from working too hard, physically, just tattooing and doing construction at the same time. Damaged my hands pretty good, and they're getting back. I've had to do a lot of exercises, change my diet, stretch a lot, whatever. There's people that don't have the luxury of slowing down, though. That, let's say you work for a company that they get used to you working 12-hour days, 5 days a week. They're not going to let you not. And that fucking sucks. But if you're a really valuable employee, I think most places now you can go, hey, I'm your hardest worker. My daughter has a ballet recital on fucking Thursday at 7 p.m. I'm leaving Thursday at 6 p.m., okay? And if they say no, you can probably just fucking do it anyway. And most likely you're not getting fired. And if you do, I bet you could tell that story in an interview and get hired from somebody that gives a fuck about you. And I think culture's just fucked up. We're just weird about it. We just something about money is the most fucking valuable, important, whatever thing in the world. And it is and it isn't. When you don't have it, it's really important. When you don't have money, it is, you go, fuck, I need money. I get it. I've not had money a lot of times. And then once you have enough, then you just want more. You just go, you know what? We'll just use fake numbers here. Let's say you are 30 and you have $100,000 in your checking account, just ready to go. You got $400,000 invested in stocks and bonds, and you have $1 million in retirement accounts already. And you're drawing interest on a lot of stuff, and you're getting income off of just being rich. Your hundreds of thousands of dollars isn't enough. Your 100,000 in your checking account needs to be 110. Your 110 needs to be 140. It's a never-ending fucking cycle. And I understand it to some extent. We're wired to think that this shit's going to run out and we have to get it now. And we're wired to think, oh, let's just say like an animal, winter's coming, I need to stock up. Because there was a time where you had to stock up for winter, and you're always like, the more you could get, the better. But now we live in a society where we have too much of most things. We have too much food. It's weird because I see fucking billboards for starving children in the United States saying that poverty and starvation and like income inequality issues relating to people not having food are still a real problem. And then on the same highway 30 minutes later, I will see a billboard that says, stop childhood obesity. It starts with you. And it has a picture of a fucking apple on it. And it's like, first off, I don't know if an apple is how you stop childhood obesity. I think movement and protein. Start there. Movement and make sure they're eating the right things. Even if they're eating the wrong things too. If they're moving and eating the right things, they might get chubby, but they're probably not going to be fucking 400-pound little roly-polies. The point is, we don't have an issue in this country currently. I'm talking United States 2025. We don't have an issue of there's not enough. We might have an issue of people aren't sharing it. We might have an issue of that guy has all of it and you don't have any of it. But we don't have an issue of there's not enough. If we can learn to share and pace ourselves and slow down, and everybody's on a 4-day work week or has a month off a year. Dude, there's some countries where they literally take a month off every year, and instead of vacation, they call it holiday. I don't know what the difference is, but I like it. It sounds cooler to go, I'm going on holiday to the United States of America to see what those fucks are up to. And then they go to New York City and they watch people fucking on their third latte at 10 a.m. just spending $400 to get to work and back and park their fucking car or walk. Dude, there's people spending $50 a meal to get like a fucking hot dog and a coffee and some other shit, $20 for a pack of cigarettes. If you just didn't need those things and you lived in a different state or a different city in that state, you could live different. That being said, there's some people that love that. And for them, that's great. As long as they're living the way they want, I don't give a fuck. But I don't think we have an issue of not enough anything anymore. I think we have too much everything. We have too much entertainment, too much food, maybe too many people. Not according to Elon Musk. I'm not a genius. I'll just leave it at that. I don't fucking know. I'd say we have way too much entertainment access. Like, it's too easy to be entertained. Like, right now, I don't know where you're at. You're listening to this or watching this, but if you're enjoying it, that's great. And I listen to tons of podcasts while I'm doing other stuff. I've never sat down and watched a whole podcast that I'm aware of. I might have one time, a long time ago, because somebody told me it was a good one. It's worth watching. I don't know. But it's not a thing I do on a regular basis, for sure. It's just not my kind of entertainment. It's like, I would rather watch a movie than something like this, some random bald guy talking to you in his living room. But you can watch porn and a movie and a podcast and a bunch of other shit on a free Wi-Fi connection on a $50 phone pretty much everywhere in this country. And that sounds great. But I think if you said the same thing about candy, if you said anywhere you go you can just grab free candy, candy's just free everywhere, I think that would sound terrible. And I think most people would probably agree with me. You don't want unlimited free anything, especially porn. And we have it. We have unlimited free almost everything. This country is abundant in stuff. So do you need to hustle and get more of it and more of it and more of it when half the shit's free anyway? Probably not. Are you making enough money that you're not worried about the rent bill in 2 months from now? Like, if you stopped working right now and you could make your rent this month and next month, you're doing way better than most people, and you just need to understand that we're doing okay. And if you need a hug, I'll give you one, because I bet you're stressed out. I think almost all Americans are stressed out. And I think that's another thing. Like, it's a stressful way to live, to just be constantly boom, 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 more. And that's coming from a guy that works 3 jobs, kind of. But it's okay. It's okay. I do one I really like and another one I really like. One doesn't pay, one pays well. And then I do a few other things that I feel like I need to do to make the others work, or I need to do to make my business work, or whatever. And then I technically, on paper, own 3 businesses. I run those 3 businesses. One of them, I'm not going to say what it is very fucking simple and does not require much of my time. One of them is a tattoo shop, and it's pretty simple and does not require much of my time except the tattooing part. And the other one is a secret. So I'd like to make that 4, because I'd like to figure out one that I don't have to actually fucking do. I'd like to be drop shipping or something, just fucking, hey, what do you do for work? Oh, I push a button and then $1 million shows up at my house. It sounds great. And I will probably work on ideas to get there. And I'll probably not get there. I might get there. Who knows? But you don't have to work your ass off. As soon as you get to a point where you can take a deep breath and realize, like, hey, I don't need Netflix. There's 2 hours you don't have to work right there. Depending on what you get paid. I don't know what you get paid. But if you get $15 an hour, I believe Netflix is 2 hours now. And then if you have Hulu, I'm guessing that's another 2 hours. I don't know how much Hulu costs. And then if you have Amazon Prime, I think that's about $100 a year. So there's another hour or so. I mean, you can add it up and you can go, dude, if I get rid of enough stuff, enough bills, if I say no to a few things and take the free things, I could work less. Not saying you have to, just saying it's an option. The other thing is Freevee, Roku, Pluto, all these things are free streaming services that have good shows on them. They have good shows, good movies. If you've never seen Ocean's 11, it's free on one of those fuckers right now, I'm pretty sure. It's a good movie. There's old movies, like from the 1950s and 60s on a lot of those, that are actually really good too. So if you're in a situation where, in my case, I have the streaming services, I pay for Netflix and Hulu and Prime. I have them, but I've been at an Airbnb where I didn't feel like fucking figuring out how to log into my shit. So I just watched half of a movie called 12 Angry Men. It's an old black and white film from the 50s. It was pretty good for the first half. I did not get to the second half because I got sleepy because edibles, because I do marijuana sometimes. But now we're talking about different things. So this has been a strange episode of Andrew Patterson Off the Cuff. Have a good day.